Hello guys and welcome back to another Texas Chainsaw the Game video. So in this video, we are doing a killer's guide. It's where I'm going to give you guys tips and tricks on how you can become a better killer in the game. And this will work no matter what killer you use. But if you guys want me to do videos on specific killers and give you guys tips on how you can become better with that one killer, then let me know in the comments. And if this video does well, I will do videos on every single character in the game, giving you guys tips on how to get better. So the first thing that might help you in this game is have a headset or a mic to where you can talk to your teammates. No, I'm not saying you have to be a chatterbox, but even just turning on your mic so you can do a call out and then muting yourself again would be a better way. I can't tell you how many games I lost because teammates didn't have a mic, or how many games I won because the teammates did have a mic and we were able to communicate. Another thing is when the match starts, if you're not Leatherface, what you should be doing is setting up. So if you're a hitchhiker, you should be setting up traps. You should put them in choke point areas. You should put them by the fuse box because that's a big one. A lot of experienced players go right for the fuse, so you can put it on the fuse box and then put it in choke points where players like to run when you chase them, where they won't expect it. I notice a lot of hitchhikers like to put a trap by either the generator or the battery, but it's becoming so predictable that a lot of survivors just bring a bone scrap with them to get rid of the trap. But if you have the trap, let's say in a little walkway where they won't expect it, then when they're running or getting chased, they'll most likely run into the trap. If you're the cook, you can put the locks at important exits. For example, if you're at the family house, what you can do is put it on that blue door that leads to the backyard for the battery. That will slow them down because that door originally does not have a lock on it, and the survivors are more likely to get caught in that room when they're trying to pick that lock than they were if they just went out. If you decide to play Leatherface, what you really need to do is focus on destroying everything. And what I mean by that is destroy all the desks with the barbed wire on it. You want to destroy all the crawl spaces you can. Now you might not be patient enough to stop and destroy a crawl space, but I'm telling you it's worth it. Because in the future, if you end up chasing someone later on that match in that area, they will try to go through the crawl space and it would be destroyed. So I would say take the time to destroy the crawl spaces because it will come in handy later on. Another thing is when you're playing Bubba in the basement, this is not mandatory, but what I like to do is once Grandpa wakes up, I like to go upstairs as Bubba. I feel like once he wakes up, the survivors are all making their way out of the basement. You might as well just go up there and start destroying everything you can to clear the pathway for your teammates and to destroy the crawl spaces in case you get into any chases. Because chasing survivors in the basement as Leatherface can be very stressful. So once they wake up Grandpa or you see them going outside the basement, you might as well make your way up as well. Don't spend too much time in the basement. The next thing, which is very important, especially for beginner players, is lock all the doors. So some main doors will be able to get locked by the killer. If you see it say unlock and open, then that means you're able to open that door and you're able to lock it again. The problem is people will unlock and open it, but when they close it, they don't re-lock it. And some people might not know that. They might think it's automatic. So if you open a door that's originally locked as a killer, once you close it again, turn around and make sure you hit lock. And while we're on that topic, if you're patrolling the gates, let's say on gas station, the best way to do it is just to look at the gate. If you see it say unlock and open, then that means the survivor did not pick the lock. But if you walk around and go back to that gate and all of a sudden it just says open and doesn't give you an option to unlock it, then that means a survivor has picked that gate and they're in there. So all you gotta do is just walk around, peek at the gate, see what it says, and you're good to go. The next thing you want to do as a killer is level up Grandpa. He is gonna be a game changer in the game, especially when you're going against a hard group of survivors. And by doing that, you can find blood buckets around the map. Now some killers have a higher blood capacity than others, but what you want to do is grab as much blood as you can, and every 100 blood is a level up from Grandpa. And once Grandpa reaches level 5, then survivors will be highlighted no matter what. I can't tell you how many games as a survivor or as a killer where they didn't feed Grandpa and he was at level 0 for majority of the game and he did not help us at all, and it only hurts us in the end. Next thing, I made a shorts on this, but if you're feeding Grandpa, if you feed him from his right side, then while you're in the animation of feeding him, you'll be able to actually turn your camera around left to right and look around you to see any survivors that may be lurking in the area. But if you feed Grandpa from his left side, then you'll be stuck in the main animation and you won't be able to turn your camera around. Next thing you might notice or you might not notice in chase is survivors that are injured leave a blood trail. So if you're hitting a survivor and he runs around the corner and you lost where he went, you can look on the floor and you'll see a blood trail for a short period of time. I think it disappears over time, but you can see a blood trail. So if you follow it closely, you can find where the survivor went. I also know it's a main thing to focus on the car battery and the generator, but you also want to focus on the pressure valve and the fuse. The fuse box is becoming a much more popular way for victims to escape. The best counter to this is to have Hitchhiker place a trap. If you don't have a Hitchhiker on your team, what you can do as Sissy is go around and poison some of the fuses that are in the wall. This can disorient the survivor, and I think it notifies her, but I'm not that sure. For the pressure valve, if they happen to turn it on, you do have a short period of time to turn it off. So if you hear it go off, you can go find that pressure valve and turn it off before the pressure gates open. If you don't know where the fuse box or the pressure tank is, what you can do on PS5 at least, you can press up on your pad. I'm not sure what it will be for PC. You can actually see it highlighted through the wall. You can see all the blood buckets, you can see Grandpa, you can see the pressure tank, the fuse box, and even your other teammates. Now this one might be debatable, but I would say never have more than one killer in the basement, especially if there's more than one survivor alive. Like if you're chasing the last survivor, then yes, everyone can go in the basement. But if you still have 4 survivors alive, then I don't suggest having 2 killers in the basement, because now you're only leaving 1 killer up top and you're letting 4 survivors roam around while you're in the basement chasing somebody. That's pretty much wasting your time. So I would say always have at least 2 killers up top. And you don't want to spend too much time in one spot on the map, because the more time you spend over here, they're getting stuff done over there. So you always want to be on the move. You never want to be in one location for too long, especially having all 3 killers in one location. That could be a major problem. And another thing I would say is always close all the basement doors. So even if they're unlocked or already still locked, every time you go through it, you want to close it behind you. If you're able to lock it, lock it. If it's already picked, then just make sure you close it. The reason for this is when the survivor opens it, it will make noise, so you'll know. Or if you're chasing them and they try to run to the basement, the door will already be closed, giving you time to actually hit the survivor. A lot of the times the killers just leave the basement doors open, so as a survivor, when I'm getting chased, I'm easily just going back to the basement with the door wide open, not having to worry about anything. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the basic tips on how to become a better killer in the game. If you found this useful, make sure you hit that thumbs up. If you have any tips of your own, or if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments below. And if you want me to do a video like this but for survivors, you can also let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more Texas Chainsaw content.